I have had a day, let me tell you. Oh, Jesus. Started off being, I started off waking up, which was hard enough. I was exhausted. Got to bed at a reasonable hour and stuff like that, but absolutely exhausted. And then I had to go a long roundabout way to get here, so I parked much further up. Then you have to walk through this field of cows to get to the rig. Conduct a test. It was on this big built-up embankment, which was like, are you going to get through the ground? Are you not going to get through the ground? I didn't really get very far. And then the next step was cutting through this fence. So a fence that was built out of wood, but there was a section of it that had like barbed wire. So I had to clip that, get through it, and then you have to reattach the barbed wire so cows can't get in, because the bit that I was in at that point is owned by the council and it's a nature reserve, so they don't want cows or horses and shit like that in there. But I'm on my own. It's like, cutting barbed wire on your own isn't really bloody hard, but like getting the tension on it pulled back to nail in, and not having the correct tools to do the job, of course. So sod's law, I cut the fence, drive the rig through, and then turn around and there's just fucking cows everywhere. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I'm now sitting with a rig, an open fence, and an army of cows trying to get into this nature reserve. And I was like, oh no! And I was like, right guys, stay back. And then they just look at you with these big eyes and they're like, huh? Do you want to talk to me? And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to you. I want you to fuck off so I can rebuild this fence. Oh my god. So that was quite stressful. Having to like botch it with like hammers and screwdrivers and stuff while having an audience of like big cows who are just like, what are you doing? Like they were right fucking there, and I was trying to build a fence with barbed wire, and then I'm pulling at it, and I probably should have gloves on, but I didn't have any, and it's digging into my hand, but I don't want to let go, because I thought if I let go it'll ping off and might whip this cow in the face. Then obviously, because I'm such a lovely person, I'd rather just suffer like puncturing wounds in my own hand rather than hurting a cow. So after quite a lot of swearing, I managed to reassemble the fence, and then I started moving on, and I was like, right, cool. Don't get me wrong, the fence looks atrocious. We could not get the right amount of tension, but at least it's secure, and no fucking cows will get into the nature reserve. About, 5 minutes later, I'm tracking the rig over to the next bit, and that's when it conked out, and I was like, oh god, no. And I am miles away from the car at this point. And I know some people will be like, well, how did that happen? How did you just run out of fuel? I says, well, the answer to that's quite simple. The fuel gauge on the rig is broken. It just reads 100% all the time. Now, I did fix the fuel gauge sensor ages ago, and it worked for a while, then it broke again. So I think it's something else that's causing the issue. So I had worked out roughly a hard day of working with a rig, which is usually tracking it. Doing this kind of stuff, it's not using too much fuel, but if you're tracking long distances, you're going to use about 7% of fuel a day. And as it so happens, I basically worked out that 20 litres of fuel is about 7% of the fuel tank. So, there's discrepancies there, but generally, roughly speaking, what I do is I work out one 20-litre jerry can as a day worth of work, which is all fine and good. So I basically have to work out, divide the 100% by 7%, so then you know how many days you've kind of got roughly from like being full to like empty. I knew yesterday that I was running low. But my idea was, where I am at the moment, I was at, if you imagine like my van can park here or here, but in between there is this, and it's a big fucking distance. So where I'd got to, I was like, I can't refuel it now, well, with any level of ease. So that move that I was doing today, through Cow City, I was on my way to the van with the rig, and the plan was, cool, now off you are. So obviously fucking Sod's Law died on me. And then, yeah, like you say, I had to go trekking through a field of cows. Oh, it's been mad. At least it's working now. It's really hard being away, and when you get back and you're exhausted, and really the first thing you think of when you wake up in the morning is like, I am going to go straight to bed when I get back. And it is kind of a little bit your thought when you get back. This ground is so fucking soft, unbelievable. I'm next to the River Shannon, so that's probably why. So from 6 meters 90 down. So you get back to the hotel room, you're really, really tired. I treat myself to a bath. That's how I look after myself. That's what what do they call it? Self-love? That's how I pamper myself. I don't have a bath. It's not a luxury that I have in my life. So this is the time where, yep, I'll lie in the bath, I'll just chill out. And then me and my colleague, we arrange a time that we're going to go down for dinner. But then what ends up happening is you have your bath, and then sometimes if the bath's too hot, you get out of the bath, and I'm like way too hot to put clothes on, so I'm literally lying there like bollock naked on the bed, just hoping that no one walks in, because I can't afford to pay someone's therapist to deal with that. But you get to the point where you eventually get to the correct temperature, and then you're like, oh fuck, I've got to go downstairs for dinner. I'm so tired. And then you've had such a crazy ass day where sometimes you go, oh, I need a beer. But you know that it's a bad thing. So you're like, oh, if I have a beer, then will I have one or two? Because when you're away, what inevitably happens, you end up talking to like locals. Like the other night there, I got talking to a guy called Travis. He was local-ish Irish guy. He was really cool. And then this incredibly flamboyant gay guy from Miami called Christian. He was absolutely hilarious. He was singing like Lion King songs at the bar, and like he can properly sing. He was really good. But you meet these people, and then when you think I'll have 2 pints and I'll go home, it's never that. It's like it's always ends up being something more disastrous. Should I just do this patient? Can I be arsed? Right, I might start a dissipation at this fucking dead. 8 meters. I'll do it at 8:80. Fuck it. Bang. Start dissipation test. There we go. Oh, yeah. So you end up meeting some interesting folk at the bar, and then you end up like staying up later than you fucking should. You pay for it the next day, but then you remember these moments. They're pretty cool because you don't get to do this all the time. You got to remember there's a lot of times when you're on your own or you're doing boring shit or whatever, and then there's the odd time where you're like, no man, I'm somewhere else, and I'm meeting these kind of really interesting individuals. I mean, obviously you could make it so that you're not drinking till stupid o'clock in the morning. But that is what we ended up doing, and it was really funny. That is what happened last night. That was my first night I got here. So I'd done 11 hours of traveling, really tired, but like also that way where you're wired because you've been driving a long time. And I got to the hotel. My colleague gave me the room key, and he said, "Do you want to have a shower?" And I was like, "No, don't give a fuck." I said, I just want to be it." This is the Monday, like I'm saying, after the 11 hours, just literally went up to the room, threw the bags down, straight down to the bar, and I was like, right. And we just planned on a couple of beers or something like that, but obviously we met Travis and Christian and started talking absolute nonsense. And then The bar closes at 12, 1. We've got a few beers, but because we've been there quite a bit. Well, I mean, a couple of years ago, I was here for about a year, on and off. The lassie who basically sort of runs the bar, her dad works there. He's sort of working nights. So Lizzie's dad comes in and is like, "So do you want another beer, lads?" And we're like, and Christian and that had not obviously experienced it. I was like, "Is it but the bar's closed?" And I was like, "Just wait, Christian. Just you wait for the magic to happen." And then the guy just brings the shutters back up and you're like, we're in for a world of pain tomorrow. So we stayed up till 4 in the morning, having an absolute wild laugh, just talking about it was really funny. But then you still have to get up for work the next day, and it's painful. And we were definitely more sensible on a Tuesday. I'd said to Greg, and because we were meeting Travis and Christian again the next day, because obviously when you part ways at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're like, "See you guys tomorrow for more of the same," and then the next day you're like, "I don't want to do that ever again." But the Tuesday we came down, Travis was there, and he's like, "Oh, I was late for work," and like we were a bit late as well. Then Travis, who's like an air steward person, he obviously didn't have any fucking work to go to, so he's like, hey, how you doing, bitches?" And I'm like, "Fuck you, Christian, we've all been to work." But yeah, so that night we literally had like 2 pints, and I was like in my bed for 10 or something like that. Up early the next day, which would have been Wednesday. I don't even know what fucking day is today. What day is today? Thursday. So Wednesday, and again I was like, right, I'm still keeping it cool, but then Christian came over, I was like, "This is my last day," and I'm like, "Oh dude," I was like, "I'm so fucking tired. I don't have the energy to give you like the send off that you need." But anyway, I bought him a few beers, and then again I was in my bed, I think 10:30, 11, but I lost Greg, like, and I'd gone out and I was chatting to Christian and Travis and a bunch of other Irish dudes, and then I came back in, Greg was just gone, and I was like, "Where the fuck is Greg?" And I assumed obviously he's just buggered off to bed, but then I'd gone to bed, and then I woke up in the morning, and he asked if we were back down in the bar. I don't know. Fucking knowing him, he's obviously got himself into like some sort of world of trouble, like probably hanging around with some mental cases. But yeah, it was good. But it's Thursday night. Got work again in the morning, so none of this late night pish. But Ireland are playing Finland in the Nations League at football, so that might be on the telly. England are also playing someone. I don't think they'll put that on they might put it on the telly. I'll just imagine because I'm in Ireland, they'll play the Ireland game. But I don't know, we'll see. But tomorrow night we've got Scotland versus Croatia, and I'm dearly hoping that we don't get utterly spanked. I mean, I'm not holding out much hope for that. But Greg was like, "Oh, I'm going to be working Saturday. You don't have to if you don't want to." And I was like, I don't really want to, of course. But if I work Saturday, that's an extra day closer to getting home. We'll see. I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, I'm in the middle of doing a dissertation test, and when I do that, I will usually either have some lunch or watch something on Amazon on the computer. At the moment, I've been watching this program called Flipping Bangers. It's like these two guys that buy like old bangers, like old shitty cars, and then do them up. I personally find it entertaining because I like cars and like getting your hands dirty and fixing things. So that's what I'm going to go do now. I think I've fucking talked long enough. Shit, 14 minutes.